This podcast is brought to you by PodPro Australia.
Social media, Google, email marketing, systems, website traffic, and the endless content creation that comes with marketing. It's overwhelming, right? Say goodbye to endless stress and hello to clarity with the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. In this podcast, I will share with you fast and free practical methods to help you manage, monetize, and market your business, all infused with a healthy dose of motivation. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. Today I'm here with the lovely Francesca Moi, and we're going to be talking about outsourcing to virtual assistants in order to manage your marketing. We live in a world right now where this has become the new norm here in Australia where we are, and there are VAs everywhere. You can go to agencies, you can get them privately, and today we're just going to share with you some of how that looks for you, because in my experience, a lot of people are hiring, firing and rehiring. Others are just massively scared to even take the plunge and do something about it. And then there's others that are absolutely thriving. So they are restructuring their teams, being able to bring on more virtual assistants and scale and grow their businesses effortlessly. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I love to be here. This is so professional. I love it.
Thanks so much. So I always love to start with the story. I mean, how did you get into virtual assistants and outsourcing?
Well, about 11 years ago, when I started my first business, which was life coaching, I noticed that I was very good at being on the call with the people. And then I was very good to do the marketing. And then what would happen is that first the marketing would stop when I was on calls, right? And so I didn't have the next client. So then I had to spend a week not making money and do marketing. And then when I started to get a bit of momentum, I was not following up with my own people. So I was letting them down. I was doing the session. I'm like, yeah, I'll send you the recording. Yeah, I'll send you this notes. Never did because I was busy. And so I was like, okay, I needed to admit what I was not good at, and I would delegate what I was not good at, which was a lot, which was like the marketing, the admin, the follow-up, the customer service, nurturing my clients. And my VA loved it. And I was not good at it. So we created like a really win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah, there's definitely this capping point where at some stage you go, I can no longer do this all by myself. I need to do it. For me personally, I always say that you should only really look at outsourcing when you become a six-figure business.
Yes.
Until then, you really should have the time to
Hustle
be able
and
to so invest in yourself and invest in your ability to do it, because when you get a virtual assistant, you actually do need to know what it is that you need to give them. And you do need to know what's required in giving them that task so that you can support them in that activity. Also in the hiring process, you need to know what you're actually hiring for as well.
Yeah, because if not, it's the blind leading the blind. If we don't know what we need to be done, how can we get someone on board? But also it's like what I love to do is that when I started to grow the business and then I created a marketing academy and I was teaching business owners how I grew my small life coaching business into a six-figure business. People are like, how did you do it? I'm like, with the help of a VA, with support. And that business grew so much that I got a EA here in Australia. And then she was drowning. And I was like, wait. You don't drown. I need you. If you drown, then I'm screwed as well because I have to start over again. So I got a VA for her. So I got a VA to support her. And then she felt like successful and she felt like she had an assistant, and it's like a bit of a career progression. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So then from there on, I made a rule that every time I've got a person here, obviously at the beginning they need to learn the role. So again, the six-figure, right? They need to get the role, get the results. And as soon as they do that, 3 months later, I go, okay, you now been in business 3 months, you deserve a EA. And so then I get them a EA in the Philippines for them.
Yeah, that's so good. And I'm in the process at the moment. I'm so excited. I've had my EA now for the last almost 5 years, and it's time now for me to get a VA to support her as well, because
Yes.
I'm growing, so her tasks are expanding and she can't thrive in her role, and there's a whole bunch of tasks now that she's got that are repeatable, which means we can now bring on someone else and go, you can do the repeatable task, because I need her for the higher level stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And our responsibility as a leader is to look at our staffs and understand what is their career progression and support them in their career rather than be the bottleneck of our own business. And so for me, like even now, I've got a a VA in the Philippines. They're with me 7 years. She's done everything. She's my EA. She's my operational manager. She's my financial support advisor. Like literally, she's incredible. But she's multitasking and it's not healthy for her. And it's also, she's stuck in that position. We try to hire other EAs, but we have such a good connection. They were like, I don't like anybody. So I'm like, I haven't succeeded at that. But by doing that, I've realized that I'm letting her down. I'm closing her into just be my EA rather than have a career progression. So sometimes it's us that we're like, we get comfortable. We're like, oh, but this person is my EA. I don't want someone else. But by doing that, we're not being the right leader for them as well.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that can happen with that. So in my experience, what happens is they can burn out.
Yes.
Burn out, not enjoy the job anymore, multitask, so they're not efficient anymore. They become inefficient. So you end up having to, it's not working anymore. So those are great signs of that.
Frustration.
Frustration's huge. But the other problem that comes with that as well is that if they get hit by a bus, and everyone says, Chantal, how can you say that? But that's the reality, right? If they get hit by a bus or something happens, you are screwed. And this has happened to me twice in my life. Twice in my life when I've had a PA, a personal assistant here in Australia, and out of the blue, the one just went, I'm burnt out, I'm leaving, and gave me like 2 weeks notice. And I had no idea what she did. I cried for the month of December. I still remember that month of December. And my other one I'd had for like 5 years. She went through a divorce. She was all fine, woke up one day, was having mental health issues and went, I'm out. Nothing had been recorded. No systems or processes had been put into place. I had no idea of what her daily tasks were. I hadn't been having regular meetings with them. And that became a massive, massive problem in my business and a learning. And I'm grateful to say that all of that's happened because it's made me a lot more structured in my approach now with virtual assistants.
1,000,000%. That happened to me as well multiple times. And obviously that helped me to understand also what I wasn't doing right. Exactly like you said, like I wasn't supporting them in the growth, in the career. I was burning them down. I was expecting so much, but the business was growing and I was giving it the support that I needed. It's like the business is doubling thanks to their help as well. And I wouldn't put them as an assistant to take some of the tasks so that they can thrive and continue growing the business. So it's actually a big problem of us business owners that we just expect our people to be superhumans, and we need to recognize when enough is enough. And the other day I was talking to Lina, she's my customer service manager. She's incredible. She's very passionate about the role. And I said, this is our business. Like I want this business to give you freedom and freedom of finances, but also of time. I don't want you to be stuck in this role and work overtime. This is not what you're here for. And I want to support you. So let's put another person under you. I see you're struggling these couple of weeks. Let's put one person under you to get things. And she was like, but I'm very good at that. I'm like, yes, you are, but you're not going to get stuck there. You can delegate, you can create procedures, we can pass it to someone else, and you can thrive. You can go to the next step. And she was scared, but she was excited. And that's what we need to recognize before they drown or before we burn them out or before they start to look around for another opportunity because they don't recognize there is an opportunity within this business, right?
Yeah, I love that. So there's 3 amazing things that I took out of that. And number one thing is that we actually have to become good leaders. We not naturally that. I mean, a lot of people, my friends would go, Chantal, you're a great leader. We think that. I can tell you right now that when I started getting staff and team, leadership was something that I needed to work on. I've had to work on it. I've had to be very self-aware, work on myself as a leader, be a better communicator, and upskill in that position myself so that I can be a better leader within my team. The second thing that you mentioned over there is time. So spending time with them, because if you don't spend time with them, you're not going to recognize when these things are happening. Time means that you're communicating, you're aware of what's going on inside the business so that you can be a good support team for them. And the other thing is obviously look at the cultural differences within the business, which is something else that you'll be able to identify in that time. So for example, I've got Nigerians, Indians, Filipinos, and I also train South Africans, and I've got someone in Brisbane as well. So there's cultural differences that you've got to pay attention to. So as a leader, you've got to be able to do that. Time allows you to spend time with your team to see what's actually happening.
Absolutely.
To make sure that's really good. And the third thing there is the upskilling, because just like we have to upskill in our role as a business owner, our virtual assistants need to upskill as well. So if they don't understand a task, they need to upskill as well. And unfortunately, there's this thing that business owners think that when they hire someone, they're going to come fully skilled in that role and in that position. They are not skilled in your business. They've got no idea what you do. They've got to learn. They've got to understand your key messaging, your branding, your proposition, your value propositions, your call to actions, who your target audience is, who your competitors are. That takes time. From the time that you bring on your virtual assistant, it's not suddenly they're managing your marketing and it's like, And we spoke about this earlier, and you'll get an Australian marketing manager that's in-house and you'll pay them anything from $70,000 a year to like $120,000 a year. You still have to spend time with them. You still have to be a leader, and you still have to upskill with them. They need to upskill. You need to upskill. Virtual assistants are a lot cheaper than that. They still need those three things.
Absolutely. And it takes about 3 months for someone to really be confidently working in their role. No matter what role it is, if you pay them $100,000 here in Australia or you pay them $25,000 in the Philippines or somewhere else, you have to take responsibility of the training and the integration into the business, into building relationship with the team, what to ask to who. The other day I had one of my VAs commenting on one of the new staff members here in Australia, and they do that, right? They compare and they be like, wait a minute, this person gets paid way more than me and she doesn't still know who does what in the business. I'm like, but she's been here for like 6 weeks. Like, just give her a chance. Like, did you sit down with that person and explain your role and what you actually do? Like, don't just expect, like, it's about for us. And it's funny because at one point I had to go, okay, the business is growing and now I'm becoming a manager. I'm becoming a general manager of the business. I'm not the salesperson anymore. I'm not the marketing person anymore. Like, you got to accept your different roles in the business as well. Yeah. And I had to go and get leadership training because I have no idea how to lead these people. And I still don't. I can still go, oops, I did that mistake the other day. And we have to learn and upskill ourselves to be able to provide that. Yesterday, someone told me something that I was like, oh my goodness. They said, if you are not upskilling yourself as the right leader, you're doing a disservice to your staff because they could have a better career somewhere else and you're holding them back. So you either step up and you be a great leader and you call them out when they're not performing and you coach them when they need support and you be there for them. If not, don't keep them there and let them have a better career somewhere else. Whoa, okay.
I love that. So there's a couple of things because we've spoken about having to spend time with your virtual assistant. So people freak out. Every time I talk or do a presentation, I did 2 yesterday, and they go, oh, time with my VA, I don't have time. And I go, well, if you've got no time to spend with your VA, then you really don't have time for new clients. And they were like, whoa.
So true.
It's so true. So the thing is, you still got to slow down to speed up. Like, this is, I said it, I think you say it in a different way, but you got to slow down in the beginning to speed up at the end to get what you want out of them. And at the end of the day, it could take you, say, 8 hours to fulfill a project because you could go, I can just do it myself, 8 hours to do that project. But if you spent the 8 hours with your virtual assistant teaching them to do it, you now don't have those 8 hours anymore. You now might only have to oversee it for 1 hour.
Yes,
1 hour
absolutely.
to oversee them doing it for the 8 hours.
Next time that project happens.
100%.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's perfect.
I was like, I'm too excited here.
Too excited.
I was like, like, this is the thing. Like, yes, the first time it will be faster if you didn't. Absolutely. But actually, I don't believe that, to be honest. But it could be fast, like as much time, the same time, right?
Yeah.
But what I say is I have a few things I want to say here because someone else the other day told me something that I need to share with you. So it's like, don't just sit there with the VA and expect them to learn on like a 5-minute brief. It's like, do it with them. You had to do it anyway. If you didn't have an assistant, or I'm going to call it a staff member because if it's here, there, it doesn't matter, right? So if you don't have a staff member, you will have to do it. So that will take you maybe 3 hours a week to do that task every week, right? Recurring task. Yeah. If you teach it to a VA, they expect it to be like, oh, I have to teach us, I have to take a 4th hour. It's like, no, you still were doing it for 3 hours. Now spend the 3 exact hour with your VA and you let them watch it on Zoom. You record, well, they record, they watch it, then they're going to go away, watch it back, create a procedure. Next week, that the same task you had to do anyway, because when you didn't have a staff member, you had to do it, right?
Yeah.
So then you go back on Zoom. Now they do it. You watch them by following the procedure. Now in this moment, you have the power to edit the procedure, to coach them, upskill them. The 3rd week, you now let them do it and you just spend an hour checking. So now from 3 hours a week, it's down to 1 hour. The 4th week, hopefully, you can just do 15 minutes to check. So now you cut down the 3 hours to 15 minutes. And you do that for each task, each project. And if it's you or your team member, the having an assistant is the same process, right? Yeah. So I don't see how it's faster to just do it, because it's not. In 3 weeks' time, it's not faster to just do it, right?
I think a lot of the problem that I see is that they bring in the virtual assistant and they don't know. They know broadly what they want to delegate when it comes to marketing, because obviously marketing's my thing. So broadly, they know what they need to do. They go, I need to do reels, so make me some reels. But they don't actually have a strategy. They don't actually have a plan. They don't really know how to do that. So when they're delegating the task, they're delegating something that's very non-specific to somebody, and then they're expecting them to just whip up something. And it's not possible. Absolutely not possible. And this is where having a strategy and having a marketing plan is so incredibly important, because when you have the strategy and you've got the plan and you've taken the time to explain it and teach them that, then when you say, this is our strategy, this is our plan, this is the outcome of what we're wanting to achieve, now please go and create a reel that's targeting this audience, that's in our brand colors, that is going to have this call to action that we're going to put out on Instagram. You've now delegated more specifically and you've set them up for success, not failure.
1,000,000%.
So you can't say, when they go, they didn't do it right. I go, no, you didn't do it right.
Sorry, reality check.
Reality check. I mean, and for our audience, that's why a lot of people who get virtual assistants bring me in to spend 8 weeks to 5 months to come and actually go through that marketing strategy and plan, because they didn't have it in the first place.
Yeah, so many clients come to me and they're like, I want a VA to run my marketing. And I say, wait, do you have a strategy? And they say, no. I say, okay, then you need a Chantal first. So let's do a meeting with Chantal, get the strategy from Chantal, and then the VA can work with Chantal to learn the strategy, and Chantal can supervise and help our VAs are trained to be supervising as well. So you can get the support, but you need the strategy, because if not, but the VA, this is why I'm getting a VA. Like, no, VA is not a strategist. A VA is a doer, is an implementer. What is the strategy? It's like you're giving the VA a car, but then you tell them that you want to get them to drive to Darwin, but you're not giving them a GPS. Yeah. Chantal is the GPS. Get the GPS so the VA will be able to follow Chantal. Absolutely. For you, what Chantal tell you probably would Japanese, right? You don't understand it. I get it. But for a VA, they won't understand the marketing jargon that Chantal will use. They will be able to follow it, watch the GPS and follow it. But if you don't give them a GPS, they're going to be lost. No matter how good their driver are, they're going to be lost.
Yeah, so we spoke about time, which is great. Now let's just talk about money. So you could get an in-house marketing person. They're still going to require the same amount of time, right? The difference is that they are usually in-house in your organization. So they are in closer proximity to your business and your brand, so they can absorb some of the understanding of the business a bit quicker.
Yes.
When you go offshore, it's cheaper. So you have to spend some time with them in order to be able to get them to do it. Like you said, if you took a Filipino virtual assistant, put her in Australia and said, drive around Australia without a GPS, they've got no idea. There's cultural differences, there's whatever. That is how it is inside your business. They've still got to get to learn your business. They've got to get to learn the country, the terrain, that's what they've got to familiarize themselves with before they do it. So money-wise, if you have a look at it, you can save yourself about 60%.
Yes.
Around 60%, and really it's going to actually take you the same amount of the time if you put a structure in place.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, it's about saving the money and saving the time. Like, I think that I always say VAs will save your time, save your money, and make you money, because it's a process. And if you get someone in Australia, I don't think there's going to be difference in knowledge. The difference is in the way that we delegate, because we have the impression that when we have someone in the office, it's easier to delegate, which to me is fascinating, because for me it's actually the same. I find I've got 2 staff members in the office, and we work from home Monday and Friday, and we work in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The only thing that happened Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is the bonding, the lunchtime together. That's the difference. Like they feel closer to me. That's the only thing that happens. But Monday and Friday, they are the most productive. We still meet on Zoom for different meetings and things. And I'm thinking there's literally no difference. So it's just our perception that having someone in the office is more productive or better. Actually, my team is more productive when I'm not there, when I'm not in the office.
My team's the same.
Yeah, because I'm distracting. I'm the idea person. I come like, I've got an idea. And they're like, I'm finishing something. Like, doesn't matter. Listen, like, I get too excited. And so I actually think that having a team offshore is more productive, is more time productive as well. So it just need to us learn how to deal with that, which will take time, but eventually it will 1,000,000% save money. And as we said before, help the team to make more money, because now they have an assistant and they have that support.
So let's talk a bit about this sort of fear for Australian sort of employees and stuff, right? Because they get very scared because they go, oh, everyone's getting a virtual assistant right now. So let's talk a little bit about that for a moment, because in my experience, every single time somebody hires a Filipino virtual assistant, they actually then are able to support the Australian employee, and that person can then shine in that position.
Yes. So one of the things that I love is that every staff member that I had in the last 10 years, I've always got them a VA once I learned that was going to help them. And there's always resistance at first. They're like, wait a minute, why do you think I can do it all? I can do it all. And they want to prove to you. And I said, no. I do think that you can do it all. I just don't want you to first burn out. And I value you so much that I want you to do high-level stuff. And for you to do high-level stuff, you need to really have someone to delegate to. I'm going to help you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you. And this is the other thing. You cannot just go as a business owner, hey, this is your VA, goodbye, deal, like find a way. You have to coach both on how to deal with each other because they don't know how to do that. So I coach them a little bit, and then they understand how to work. The moment that they understand, then the VA is like there to support them. They're like, oh my goodness. They feel important. They feel excited. They feel like they can do so much more. They can bring more. They come with ideas and plans to grow the business. When before they were like stuck in day to day, they've got a better attitude towards the business because they feel supported. Actually, I don't see any negative. There is one negative. Sometimes they get a little bit compliance, like, oh, my VA is doing that. Like they sort of like they start to don't want to do the little level stuff, which I like because I don't want them to, because they're too expensive to the business for them to do data entry or for them to do 2 hours on editing a reel or something. It's like, no, give that to a VA and you focus on checking it and give feedback and then get away. So the biggest problem is to teach them how to do that, how to delegate and not micromanage. And that's why I wrote the book, The Power of Delegation, because actually my team, I give them to them to read because it's important for them to understand. But our staff would love to have that support.
Yeah, awesome. So there's two massive takeaways there for me, and they both start with a B. I love my acronyms.
Oh.
So the one is buy-in. You do need to get buy-in from the team members. So you have to have a conversation with them, and they've got to be ready to accept the fact that this is new. And I've actually had to let go of staff because the staff were great with me, whether or not they were VAs or in-house employees. They were great up until a certain level. And then when they got to the certain level, I wanted to grow, but they actually didn't have the capacity or the goals to grow.
Continue.
So they didn't. And so therefore, if you don't have buy-in, and it's as sad as it sounds, it's better to let them go. If you're going to scale, they're holding you back.
Yes.
So buy-in is really important, getting them to say, yes, I'm with you. I want to scale. Let's do this. The second B is boundaries, and having boundaries in place is really important. So making sure that, delegation is done respectfully. I don't like crossover of virtual assistant tasks because they blame each other.
Yes.
No, you were meant to do that. No, you were meant to do that. No, you were meant to do that. So boundaries are really important, but then also boundaries when it comes to communication, because a lot of business owners complain about the amount of time virtual assistants check in with them during the day. So personally for me, like I've got a structure that I teach all the businesses that I work with, where they've got their Monday meeting, their Friday meeting, and they've got a specific time during the day where they check their communication and project management systems. And business owners are going, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because all I've got to do is do it in that time and that time, and the rest of the week I'm free.
Yes.
So I think buy-in's really important. Boundaries are really important when it comes to this.
Absolutely. And the thing is, talking about the buy-in, sometimes they say yes, but then when they start working, there's the resistance. There is maybe like they're afraid of the job being taken away from them. So it's super important the buy-in, absolutely, because you need to have a conversation going, this is not taking away from your position. You're not going to be cut down in hours. We're going to step up your position. This is like giving you a promotion. Like I'm giving someone to help you so that you can grow, learn. And like at the moment, I've got that for my BDM, and I'm sending the BDM to a coach to get sales coaching, so that she can train her VA better to help her get better leads so that she can close them on the phone. So it's like a whole process, and she feels important. She feels supported by the business because we're giving her VA and we're giving her training. And she's like, wow, like where do you find that, right? Yeah. So is that support of the team? But I also saw in some businesses of my clients that when they get a VA, exactly what you said, they didn't do the buy-in. They just go, hey, great news, you got a VA to work for you. And then the team member in Australia has been a bit like not very nice to the VA and not showing the whole process so that the VA is now set up for failure. It's just been very interesting, the dynamic. So definitely, if you don't do the buy-in, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. So good. And I cannot recommend enough taking the time to actually go see your Filipino virtual assistants. This year it'll be my 3rd visit, and I go over to the Philippines. I treat her husband and her kids, and we do some work. We do quite a bit of work actually when we're there, but we also have a bit of playtime in that. And I can tell you that the efficiency and the buy-in from my virtual assistants since that has been so worth it. So I highly recommend that you work towards that.
Yes, and I have done the other way around. So everybody's been asking me, have you been to the Philippines? I'm going for the first time in 2 weeks, right? First time. But the only reason why is because I cannot bring the whole 80, because obviously now we have an agency and we have lots of VAs underneath us, and I cannot get 80 VAs to come to Australia. But until now, every single year, once a VA has been working with me for 2 years, they get a ticket to Australia for a month. They get 1 week of holiday paid by us in Australia, and then they get to spend 3 weeks in we put them in on an Airbnb. They work with us every day. They come to our conference. We have a conference once a year in Australia. So they get to be with us for a month. And they come together. So the first time there was 2 people. The second time there was 3 people. Now there is 5 people. This year, 5 people are going to come. And it's a win for them. It's so good. They get to come to Australia. They get the visa approved, everything done. And they love it. So yes, I think that it's good for us to go, but I love also for them to come here because they would not have that opportunity otherwise.
Awesome. So, I mean, this is a great segue for us to go into then your business and your culture of your business. So, I always say marketing is always about what we do that's different to everyone else. So you as a VA agency, what would you say are some of your points of differences and things that you do differently?
For us, culture is super, super, super important. So they have to fit in with our culture. We've got our 4 values that are clear to everybody. They even got them in the Zoom call. They've got the 4 values there. So it's very important that they all understand our values, and we don't accept anybody. We hire and fire based on the values, and that is vital, and I suggest that for any business. And our VAs love staying with us. Like, actually, I was reading the other day some bad reviews from other agencies that they were saying the VAs were quitting and disappearing. I was like, oh my goodness, thank Lord, touch wood. Then that's what's happened to us. Our VAs, they're committed, they stay, they love it, they mentor each other, they help each other grow, because that growth is our number 1 value. So I love that. We do a personality test to make sure that the VA and the client can actually work together long term, because it's not about the skills. We can learn skills, but we can't teach attitude to anybody. So they've got to have the right attitude, but also we match them on personality. The other thing that we do is also upskilling them. So if there's any problem in the business, or the client maybe start to do something that they never did before, we have a supervisor that will be able to train them and upskill the VA even a year after they've started. So there's not just, here's a VA, goodbye. We always support the clients, and we put a supervisor to supervise the VA as well. So the client get to speak to someone that is in the middle, that can be like, hey, I delegated that properly? Why the VA didn't get it? Or what's happening? And the supervisor can support the client to improve the delegation, but also can support the VA to make it happen.
Oh, that's amazing. And I think one of the biggest things that I hear all the time is that you charge in AU dollars. So for an Australian, that's amazing because you don't have fluctuating US. Yes. And that's a massive, massive thing as well. With regards to the personality test is actually quite important. And I'll tell you why, because I'm a DC personality type. So I shout out orders, and in the early stages when I was hiring, I worked out that some virtual assistants couldn't actually work with me because I don't always say, hey, hello, how are you? How's the family? I just go boom, 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 because I'm creative and I just want an outcome and I do whatever. So when I interview my virtual assistants now, I make sure that they are going to be okay with that right from the beginning. So my team know how I am. None of us say, hello, how are you? None of us do it, actually. It's the weirdest thing. People are probably going to go, think I'm so rude, but we're not. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I mean, they don't have to check it at that time, but if I've got something on my brain, I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. And that's how we work. And it's perfect. It's perfect and it works. And my VAs have been with me for years. So Personality testing is really important. Okay, so this is all absolutely amazing, and I'm loving all of this, and I'm sure that there's 1,000 gold nuggets for everyone to take from today. But because this is the Meaningful Marketing podcast, I would love for you to share what are some of the meaningful marketing strategies that you use in order to generate customers for your business.
Networking. So we've created a community of business owners that are willing and coming to our events face to face. They come to our online classes. They come to our conference once a year. So networking and community has been number one marketing strategy that we used for the last 11 years in business, and it works really well. And I love that community thing. I love to run events and all of that. So that's one. The other thing that we do is obviously we have a podcast and we do a lot of social media. My VAs run all of that for me. They make me record once a week.
They make her.
That is key words. So they force me to go on a Zoom. They tell me exactly what to do, how to do it. We actually have a lot of fun. We have a good laugh. It's actually good for the soul. Like we are on Zoom together. We have a good laugh. And I've actually structured this. I want to say this because it could be very valuable for people. So they give me like some sort of script. And at the beginning, I was like making it so hard for myself to remember the script and try to do that. Then I tried teleprompter, and that also can work. But now, because the videos on Reel works best is even like cut, and then you start from here, and then cut, and you start from there. Like it's actually a trend that works like that. And so I'm doing that now. So I like read the first phrase, and then I look at camera and I say it, and then I read the second phrase, and then I go and I say it again, and it's working really well, and it's looking natural. Like this is so much easier. I'm giving myself so much more time. So that's just our second thing that we do. And then we do, what else do we do? Is more like messaging on LinkedIn, and we have like a LinkedIn strategy that is working quite well as well. But those are, I would say, the three main biggest things. So it's like lots of video and value on our social media. Our networking is the biggest. And obviously LinkedIn is working quite well lately as well.
Awesome. And you've got your books, of course, as well.
Yes, I've got my book, The Power of Delegation. The book is actually a strategy that works well for the event. So when people come and they see that I'm an author and they get the book and they get it signed, it's a very good strategy that works. Online, a lot of people are getting the ebook version. And actually in page 10 of the book, I say, if you're ready to delegate, stop everything now and email me. I am ready to delegate enough of working 24/7. Literally, that's the phrase.
Don't even read the rest of the book.
Yes, right? Just send me that, commit to yourself, because if not, you're wasting your time. Reading a book and not taking action is going to give you not delegation, right? Yeah. And so my team didn't know that that's what I put in the book. And they were like, I've got this really weird email. It doesn't say hi, doesn't say anything. It just says, that's it, I'm done, I'm ready to delegate. I'm like, oh yeah, it's working.
It's working. Awesome. No, that's excellent. Referral partnerships is another thing that you do quite well. So for example, we cross-refer to each other. So that's something that works really well too.
Yes.
And I think what's really important to note here as we start to finish off is that just have a conversation. Just reach out to Francesca, have a conversation. They do this amazing thing where they look at all the tasks that you could be outsourcing, because people go, oh, I've got nothing to outsource. Then you do this activity, and this activity is like, OMG, I can actually outsource all those things. Yes, I'll need a full-time VA.
Yes.
And that's great, right? So there's no harm. It's free. Just do it. But if you haven't explored it, then you don't really know. You've listened to this podcast. So obviously some things, connected with you. You're obviously ready to scale, but take the next step and at least have that conversation.
Yeah, they're called Game Changer Call, and it's 45 minutes together, and there is no obligation at the end of this. You can just sit with us, and we love to do that because sometimes it's helping people getting the clarity. It's like, everybody needs a VA. I believe that. Everybody. It can be 20 hours a week. It can be 40 hours a week. It doesn't matter, but everybody needs one. So we've done the research ourselves to our 80 clients. We did the most common task that the clients is delegating to the VA. We put the average amount of hours that it's taking for the VA to do that task per week. So the hard work is already there. It's already done. So we only need to do is say yes, no. And then at the end, we get a total. And that's priceless. People love that call, and they say no other agency does it. And this is what we want to do. We want to truly help people to get their life back. Because when we started a business, nobody signed up for living a 9-to-5 to work 24/7.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. So we want to help not just business owners, but also team members to feel like they can have the support they deserve, to have the career they can have, to have the business that they can thrive, and everybody can create a win-win from that.
And I think it's really important to note, we all know that, in the olden days, which was like last year, people would go, you can post, you might get a social media management company and they'll put 3 posts up for you a week. It's not going to work.
No.
Like now, when we're talking about the amount of content that you've got to produce and put it out, you need a strategy. You've got to have a plan, and you need somebody dedicated to making sure that you can get across all your channels, do your blog, optimize your website, do your email marketing, do your social media, and you can't just do it sporadically, because whoever does it best gets the customer.
Absolutely.
That's the reality of it. So,
and sometimes we're too close to it to see it. Like, I'm a marketing strategist for other people. I can do it great, but for my own business, I don't see my own blind spots. So that's why I've got you now coming in and be like, Chantal, come in. I'm done with this. I need someone from the outside, an expert, to look through it and tell me where are my blind spots, because I know there are. Because obviously, we can always improve, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why people are so afraid of that? It's like, for me, it's like, why they're like, oh, but I know marketing. It's like, I don't care if you know marketing.
Yeah.
You cannot see your own blind spot. You need someone else. So I love the fact that you're coming in. I can't wait to see what you're gonna find. I'm actually feeling like, when someone is going through your wardrobe, you're like, oh, what she's gonna find in there. That's how I'm feeling right now. But it's good, because me and my team are willing to make the edits that you're gonna tell us to do.
100%.
So that we can get the clients that we want to get, so we can support the people that we want to support, and we cannot do it by just being stuck our own way.
Yeah, 100%. And some people are happy to stay where they are. They're happy in their business to sit where they are. They don't want to scale. They don't want to grow.
Totally fine.
And that's okay. But for those who do want to scale, strategy, plan, and get somebody to implement it is absolutely fundamental. I'm going to touch on one more thing, because I just can't help myself. But because there is this thing, right? And this happens a lot, where they go, instead of hiring a full-time VA, I'm just going to get people to do projects, right? So we'll go into freelancer.com, we'll go into Fiverr, we'll go into Facebook groups, and we'll just say, I need somebody to do this task. I don't think people realize the amount of stress that goes in with that, because you don't fully actually build a relationship with that person, how much money it actually costs you in the long term.
Yeah.
How many people have been screwed, excuse the language, but how many people have actually been screwed by tasks they've gone to outsource and it just hasn't done? Like, there's so much risk involved with it. Have you got anything to share about that?
I truly, truly believe that that's where it's faster if I just do it phrase came from.
Yeah.
Because people are like, okay, I'm just going to get this little thing done, and then the freelancers disappear, they don't follow deadlines, they don't show up, they did it all wrong, because time that you brief that person and explain your business and explain your network, like what you were saying in the beginning, right? Your target market, all of that, a month is already gone. And now you pay top dollars, because you pay more for a project manager, and you're not getting the results. So I prefer to have someone that own someone, like their mind, they're not working for anybody else. I actually prefer 40 hours over 20 hours. I know that sometimes you have to go for 20, which is fine, better than for freelancer, but try to get someone there. Consistency is key. If they work 4 hours or 8 hours a day for you, they are there, they get the habit of the business, they understand who's coming in, who's going out, they understand what's working, what's not working. It's not just like an ad hoc thing.
Much better relationship.
Right?
Yeah.
I do not believe in ad hoc. I would never hire someone on ad hoc. It doesn't work. Please don't waste your time and money.
Last week alone, I had somebody who'd hired a virtual assistant, and this virtual assistant's job was to go on appointment set, and she had no idea what this virtual assistant was doing. She just said, you appointment set, get people to my webinar, and they didn't get anybody to the webinar. But what this virtual assistant was doing was going in as herself onto social media and was actually poaching her friends list to try and get more customers. And they didn't know that I actually worked with this person. So they came to me, poached me, and I worked out what she was doing. And she was paying her, I think, about $80 a week to do it, and had for the last 10 weeks. So that's $800.
Wasted.
Absolutely wasted, done nothing. But not only that, the reputation.
The reputation
So
that you build.
So spamming people, from a reputation perspective, do you think now when she goes and invites people to a webinar and this person's been going and trying to poach people, it doesn't do anything for their reputation at all?
Common sense is not very common, unfortunately, and we need to guide our people. And this is the thing also, a project manager, a freelancer, it's not going to be aligned with our values. We have no idea who they are. We haven't got the relationship. Like a VA, a staff member will have your back. Like you have each other's back. You support them into their career and to supporting their families, and they have your back in the business. Like it's a long-term long-term relationship. These short-term things don't work, waste people's time. When people tell me, I say, do you have a VA? Like, yes, I do. I'm like, oh, fantastic. How many hours do you do? Depends. Sometimes 2-5 hours a week. Like, that's not a VA. That's like a random person that you donate money to, because it's actually a donation. It's not. It doesn't work. They're not giving you anything back. So you just have a charity. A part of that, you got actually someone working for you.
I spoke to someone, I think 2 days ago, I was at a conference and I said, oh, how long, when last did you talk to your virtual assistant? They said, oh, it's been about 7 months.
Oh my Lord.
And I don't even know what they do.
Yes, yes, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. You know what's happened actually? We have supervisors that check in with our clients, and they have to flag to us as the management when the client doesn't reply or they see they don't check in with the VA. You wouldn't believe how many times that happens. And then clients are like, oh, your supervisor is checking in too much. I'm like, no. The supervisor is not checking in too much. They're checking in once a month. But you are not replying to your VA, you're not replying to the supervisor. That is a flag to us. That means that you are not nurturing your team, which means they're going to burn out and they're going to quit, and then you're going to talk bad about our agency because you didn't do your job.
And I love the accountability of that. Like, I love the accountability of that. And I think you and I are both about that. We're about absolute transparency right at the beginning.
Yes.
When I start to work with, business owners and their virtual assistants, straight from the beginning, I'm going to say, this is the time commitment that you give me. This is for the strategy and the plan. This is the time commitment that you're going to give to your virtual assistants. And, like last week, we had somebody said, no, they're not going to go ahead because they're not prepared to do that time. And if they're not prepared to do the time, they're going to say the marketing strategy doesn't work, the plan doesn't work, the VA doesn't work.
Yes.
So absolute transparency at the beginning.
Yes. And it's important because we have to take responsibility. We cannot just it's like a hot potato. It's like, okay, I got this marketing thing. Oh, here, give it to someone. Like they're just throwing it to someone. It's not going to work. You gotta be involved in the process somehow. And if, we need to be involved in the process, I don't think that's going to be the right. Yeah. It's going to work.
And it does work because there are a gazillion thousand people who are using offshore virtual assistants, and it is working. They are scaling and they are growing. So as much as you hear, oh no, I've fired, da-da-da-da-da-da, there are thousands that are doing it successfully, and they are the ones that are doing it properly. So I encourage you to do it properly.
Don't listen to the horror stories, please, and just do your own research and find someone that you trust and let them help you. I couldn't live without my VAs. Yeah. I have now 10 full-time staff members working in my business, and I honestly don't do anything. Like when I say I don't do anything, all I do is I manage and I do meetings, and that's it. So I spend about 20 hours a week working. The rest of the time I'm off, I'm exercising, I'm enjoying life because I don't want to be stuck in the business. Yeah. I go to networking events, I go to training. The other day was a full day event. That's what my role is now. Yeah. And it sounds like I don't do anything. Obviously I do, but it's a different doing. Yeah. It's more of a high level, it's more strategy, it's more what the business needs to go forward rather than be stuck in the day to day. I don't talk to clients anymore. I don't do any of that. I just step up.
I think the last thing I want to bring up for this, hope it's the last, who knows.
We're having too much fun.
Yeah, but the last thing I want to talk about is, and I see this in Facebook groups all the time, it drives me nuts, but they talk about, oh, I've got a virtual assistant, and how much are you paying for your virtual assistant? $5 US an hour, $9 US an hour, $7 US an hour. For me, it doesn't matter how much they charge per hour, it's how much they can actually do in that hour. I don't know about you, but that's how it is for me. So it drives me nuts when they're looking at the hourly rate. I had a lady who was saying she was paying, I think it was $7 an hour for her VA to do 10 hours a week, so $70 a week or whatever. But when she went over the marketing tasks that virtual assistant was doing, I was going, my virtual assistant is only, I think about probably about $15 an hour, $15 US an hour. They're all different. But say $15 US an hour. However, she was getting about 4 times as much work done at a higher level than this other VA was doing. So I don't think that you should just be looking at price.
And also the other thing that I find fascinating is that a lot of people, like yesterday, literally, I was reading in with this massive group. I was reading about this other agency charges $16 US an hour, but they're only giving this much to the VAs, and this is not fair. And I'm like, but wait a minute, like when you get an electrician in your house and it's a apprentice, you don't go like, wait a minute, apprentice, how much did you get paid? Because I just paid $250 for half an hour, but you got paid $30. Wait a minute, I want the money back. Like, it's normal. It's business, right?
Yeah.
An agency will be the person that you can go to if your VA makes mistake. They can find you another person. It's a normal process of business. So I wouldn't get stuck in the hourly. I would get stuck into the results and the outcome that you can get by having a VA that is supported in an agency that's got the right culture, that are going to do things to maintain them happy, to upskill them, to support you. That is what I would look at.
And that's so important. I'll say this now because I have a couple of clients that have got VAs themselves, or they've got them through other agencies. So I see everything. And I can say right now that there are some agencies that will charge you every single time and a large amount of money every time you want to change a VA. There's others that don't invest in their education or their skills. They don't support them at all. So you really have to have a look at, well, they've got a high turnover rate.
Yes,
So you have to look at, an agency, you have that protection. But not all agencies are created the same. So I do encourage you to actually go and do some homework.
Absolutely, because it's important for you to understand the process that they're going to take you and the VA through, and understand that you need that support. Because if you go I've done it in the past, right? I've hired directly from Upwork, and I had, most of the time didn't work, but a couple of times it did work. So again, if you have the time to go and search for someone and do the due diligence and interview them and then choose the right person and then train them, if you have the time, go ahead and do it, because obviously it will be cheaper. But I'm not looking at cheaper. I'm looking at what is going to be the best outcome for my business. If in a year time I need a second VA, do I have to spend another 3 months training someone from scratch, finding them, sourcing them, all of that? Or if I've got an agency that I trust, I can just go, I need a VA, and boom, it will be there. Like, what is the best for your business? And I love it. My coach always said to me, you need to keep in mind the question, what does your business need? Don't keep in mind what you want, or, we need to shift the mindset from being at the beginning of the business where we're trying to save every dollar to be like, I'm now a business owner. Time is way more valuable than money. So what is going to give me an outcome that I need in my business for the business to grow? And that's the type of people that I like to work with.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. I think that that's fantastic. And I know recently, like, there was an agency, and the agency, if your VA is not meeting deadlines and not doing it, at least you have the agency to go to the agency and say, the deadlines aren't getting met, so how can we better support the VA? If the VA is on their own, because I've got 2 VAs that are not through agencies, to try get them to hold a deadline
Yes.
because they're going and they're doing work with other people, trying to chase money with other people.
Yes.
So then they now put yours on hold because they found another job and they found more money. Now I'm on hold, and this is happening to me, so I get it.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where we don't hire VAs that are driven by money, because that's not our value. Our value is driven by success. If they want to succeed, they can work with us, because we're going to support them in their career growth no matter what. And this is the type of people that we screen. And the other day I was talking to my HR team, and I said, hey, we've got a BDM now. So we're getting we train about 10 VAs a month. So we train 15, but at the end of the 4 weeks, only 8 or 10 survive our training, which is good.
Good.
And I said to my team, how can we double that? Because we're having now a BDM, so we're going to have more people coming, so we need to double our numbers. And they said, FM, I got great, and a huge amount of skilled VAs. I can get you skilled VAs, but you want VAs with the right values and the right attitude. That's where I'm struggling. I'm like, that's fine. Do not compromise that. But we need to double the number with that.
I have an idea for that. After this, I'll tell you.
Okay, good. Perfect. Tell me. Because it's important, right? If we manage to get more, then we need to make sure, but we cannot compromise the quality, because that's what clients tell us. Yeah. They can trust us that our VAs are incredible. One more thing I'm going to say.
Go.
The other day I had a client that said we introduced one VA, and just from the portfolio, this client was like, no, it's not the right person. And it was strange, because it never happens to us. So we're like, okay, we found then the second person, which is outstanding. Like, I promise you, I work with her personally, and I'm like, 1,000,000%. And this client was like, no, I think I'm not ready for a VA. And so my team, that's when it escalates to me. So I talked to the client and I said, look, this is your call. It's your business. At the end of the day, I cannot tell you how. You can choose someone. But have you got bad experience in the past? And she goes, yes. I said, okay. Are you judging these new people with your eyes of a bad experience, or are you giving these people a chance? Well, I see from the portfolio there's nothing special. And I said, but have you talked to them at all? No. I'm like, okay, so listen, this is what we're expert in. We have 94% success rate in matching. give these people a chance, or if you don't want to, I'll give you your money back, and it's totally fine. And you can, but it looks like you need someone. I need someone, but your profiles didn't look good. And I said, okay, so if you don't go with us, what are you going to do? I'm just going to keep doing it myself. I'm like, so how are you going to grow your business? It's just a fascinating, right? We're just stuck in there. Yeah. So by the end of the call, she goes, I think I got it. I need to let go. I need to trust and give it a go. They did a meet and greet, and this VA wow her, and she's called me back and she said, you were right. This VA is amazing. I'm already happy. It's only been 3 days. Thank you for pushing me. Because then we are our own bottleneck.
Yeah. I actually find that control freaks in businesses are actually great. So in the beginning, it's hard to get them across, but actually they are the best.
Yes.
When they do finally let go, they are the freaking best.
Yes.
Okay, so we do have to end off now.
Yes.
But I'm going to end with a shameless plug for myself here. So when business owners are struggling with the marketing strategy and with the marketing plan, I've had the privilege of being able to come in and work with some of the virtual assistants. So what is some of the feedback that you've got from the business owners that have and also what have you seen from the VAs? So with the business owners, what have they said? But from the VAs, can you tell a difference between those who've been trained with me and those who can't?
Okay, I've got a good story with that. So when I first got you in, a lot of my team were protective. Like, but this is what you do, Francesca. Why are you getting Chantal? And I said, first, I don't want to do this anymore. Second, Chantal has been doing it hands-on with a lot of bigger clients than what I have done. So I wanna support her, and I want to support my clients because I don't want to do that. And so they were very resistant, and they were studying you. And so eventually, I'm not even joking, the other day I had a meeting and I said, how can we upskill the VAs more? Like I said, this VA is great, that VA is great, that VA is great. How can you get more of those VAs? And my client service manager said, those VAs that you're pointing out, they all work with Chantal. So we need Chantal in to train all our VAs. And I'm like, fabulous. And I said, how's the client going that Chantal is helping? They're like, those clients, the one that never complain, they're always good because they're getting momentum because the strategy works. And so we just need all the clients to work with Chantal. I'm like, okay, solution done.
Shameless self-plug.
Chantal on steroids, and that's it.
No, it's awesome. It's been a great partnership. So thank you so much. So we do for our audience, if you email, and we'll put it in the notes, but if you email Francesca or their team and let them and mention the Meaningful Marketing Podcast, you're going to get extra special treatment. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you're going to get all that other good stuff that we spoke about, the game changer call or whatever.
Yes.
But we've got like an amazing extra bonus for you. So all you have to do is just email Francesca and just say the Meaningful Marketing Podcast, and then it's just going to be like red carpet for you, right?
I love it. That is going to be amazing. And so you can email us at betsy@empoweringvirtualsolution.com. Betsy is spelled Betsy at empoweringvirtualsolution.com, and you'll be able to get this extra bonus that Chantal is talking about, which is Chantal on steroids. Just kidding.
So yes, we'll have it in the show notes as well. Or just reach out to us. Thank you to everyone who's been watching this episode of the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. This is your host, Chantal Gerardy. Don't forget that if you go to themeaningfulmarketingpodcast.com.au, there's a whole bunch of free downloads on that website, as well as all the podcasts platforms are all listed there as well if you want to look at your other platforms. Don't forget, we're also on YouTube, so you can check us out on the Online Business Marketing you can check us out at Online Business Marketing and have a look at the podcast playlist to find us there. And whatever platform you're on, don't forget to like, comment, review.
All of it.
There's different language for every single, rate us. There's different language for every single platform, so you can't use the same language. And if you've got a suggestion for a podcast, please reach out, let me know. My preferred platform is Facebook. So Chantal Gerardy on Facebook, my personal profile. Send me a PM and let me know how you're going. Thank you so much for joining us, Francesca.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. Can I stay?
Sure. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening in. Meaningful Marketing is all about you making your marketing meaningful. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please hit that subscribe button. But subscribing means that you won't miss out on future episodes all about marketing and motivation. Stay inspired, stay focused, and make your marketing meaningful.